Hey, what's going on? Y'all, it's your boy LaRon, and I'm back with another video, man. So, I wanted to cook on this Kyle Rittenhouse interview. I did do a video the other day just saying how he support Black Lives Matter. Is he trolling or not? I still don't know if he's trolling or not, but I do want to talk about some of the things he talked about in the interview, and also Tucker Carlson pointed some things out too. So I'm gonna play part of the interview. That I'll try to find a full interview and put it in the description box so you guys can check it out. So I'll play part of the interview, and also want to play like an introduction of the interview where Tucker Carlson was speaking about the media and how the media pushing out these propagandas and stuff like that. And in my opinion, man, Kyle Rittenhouse was a victim. He was a victim because there's a narrative that's being pushed out, and whatever this narrative is, he was the face of the whatever they want to push out. I can't put a name on it, what they pushing out, but he was the face of it because what he did. And to me, for what I've seen, you know, saying from the video I seen to the evidence in court was totally different from what the media was putting out. The media was saying things like, say for example, we travel state lines, and he kind of debunked that in the clip I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play the audio because I don't want to get flagged. I'm gonna just play the audio of the clip. So I'll pause. I'm gonna play the audio of the clip so I give you guys my opinion on it. So let's get straight to it, yo.
All of it was a lie. Rittenhouse was not a white supremacist. He was never in a militia. He never crossed state lines with a firearm. The protest in Kenosha was not peaceful. It was a riot, chaotic and violent. Many of the rioters, by the way, carried guns. Rittenhouse was hardly alone. Rittenhouse didn't go to Kenosha looking for trouble. His father lived there. Rittenhouse himself worked as a lifeguard in Kenosha. As Rittenhouse stood there, rioters threatened his life. Then they attempted to kill him. In the end, Rittenhouse shot 3 attackers as he tried to run to the safety of the police. A number of media outlets claimed the men Rittenhouse shot were black. In fact, all 3 were white, and all 3 had serious criminal records.
See, that's another thing. It feels like they put that out there that the people who got shot was black, and a lot of people believe that. I believe that a lot of people believed that when that first came out. But once they found out the people were white, they were so upset about this case about quote unquote a white kid, a white supremacist crossing state lines to shoot people at a Black Lives Matter rally. Once that narrative got out there, people didn't care if the people were white. Then that's why you see people protesting now with Black Lives Matter and chanting Black Lives Matter, even though this is not a Black Lives Matter situation. This is basically a white kid defending himself in a hostile situation. So let's continue.
But before we start, one observation, which you can't resist making. It's hard to ignore the yawning class divide between Kyle Rittenhouse and his many critics in the media. Rittenhouse comes from the least privileged sector of our society. During high school, he worked as a janitor and a fry cook to help support his family. Last year, he got into college at Arizona State, and he's very proud of it.
Wow, see, I thought he was still in high school. That's so good. He's 17 years old, worked throughout high school. He says as a janitor and a fry cook to support himself and his family, help his family out. I'm telling you, it's like, I'll be real. These stories that is in middle America, like with white people, is not too far off than the stories of black people. And I learned that from traveling a lot. When I used to travel and I used to go to different parts of the country, like I'll be in Idaho, I'll be in Indiana, I'll be in Illinois. I don't think I was ever in Wisconsin, but I was like in South Dakota, Minnesota. Like you be in all these different parts of the country, you start realizing, wait a minute, this story is not that different than what the stories I know about black people. It's not that different. I'm telling you, when you really start, having conversations with people, we're not that different.
In the world Kyle Rittenhouse grew up in, it is not a given that kids go to college. It's not even close. So tell me, Kyle, how you wound up in Kenosha that day.
So this is him about to speak about the him getting into Kenosha, because they said that it's so many things that came out there. His mom drove him over the state lines with a gun. So the first image I had of Kyle Rittenhouse, he's in the front seat with the AR strapped around his shoulder, and his mom is driving him like, like I got that image. His mom driving him while he got the AR strapped around his shoulder. That's the image I had from what I've seen on social media.
Well, it actually started on August 24th. I was working my job as a lifeguard at the Recplex in Kenosha County, and then the riots were still going on, and a curfew was implied. So I went to Dominic Black's house, and I stayed the night over there, and saw the videos of the riots and the arson going on.
So, like I said, we had the image of him, his mom driving him in a car. I don't know. I thought a car or maybe a minivan. That's what I thought. That's what I imaged. So she's driving in the car, and he's in the passenger seat with his AR around him, with his AR on his shoulder and the seatbelt on the other side. So he had like a X going through, like a seatbelt and a AR strap. That's what I imagine. But he worked in Kenosha. See, that's the thing they say about state lines. Where he lived in Illinois and where was going on in Wisconsin, it was like a 20-minute drive. So he was able to drive himself to work, and he stayed at his friend's house after work because it was a curfew. That makes more sense than his mom driving him. He got the AR strapped up with the seatbelt on.
What'd you think of it?
It was upsetting because Kenosha is my community, and I just was upset seeing my community up in flames.
Yeah.
Think about that. If you were him, because like I said, his dad lived in Kenosha, his family lived in Kenosha, his grandmother, cousins, everything that live in Kenosha, so he has roots in Kenosha. And you see your city that you're from. You could say you're from there because he got family there. You know what I'm saying? You see your city being burnt up. I'll be mad too. I'll be mad too.
You were. So you're at your friend's house that night. You've come back from working as a lifeguard.
Yes.
And then you decide to go in. First, you're cleaning up graffiti, correct?
Yes. So we say the night I say the night August 24th. We wake up in the morning and we're talking. We're like, let's go help our community. Let's go see what we can do. And we ended up at Ruther Central High School where we were cleaning graffiti for a couple hours, and then we met with the owners of Car Source, and we offered to protect their business from fires, making sure the rest of their other two properties didn't get burned down like they did the night prior, and they agreed. We came back. We went back to Dominic's house and hung out there for a little bit, and then we went to Car Source to help protect the property and make sure it didn't set on fire again.
I mean, if I was him, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have trying to protect businesses, but he felt that what he see that to be something that he needed to do. Everybody's different. I'd have been like, you know what? I can't protect the business. I'll go clean up graffiti. I do stuff like that, but I'm not going to protect the businesses. I mean, I give him credit. He did something that he felt that was right, but that I wouldn't have done that. Shout out to Kyle Rittenhouse for doing that.
So you get there. What do you see?
When I get there, I see in the beginning, the morning of Ruther Central, I see just spray paint everywhere. I see smoke coming from the Car Source that was burnt down, and it was quite upsetting because that was somebody's business that got destroyed.
Yeah. So you said to the people who own the car lot, I want to protect your cars, and they said, yes, please.
I said, hey, I asked if they needed any help, and they said, yes, if you can.
Where were the police?
I'm not sure really, because
I mean, it was a lot going on that night. What could have the police really have done? You know what I'm saying? I mean, he could ask the question, but I don't know how large Kenosha, Wisconsin Police Department is, but you got people come from all over the place, basically rioting and burning down the city. What could the police have really have done?
They have a hard job,
For sure.
but I didn't really think they got the support they needed. The National Guard should have been called August 23rd, but the city of Kenosha failed the community. The governor, Tony Evers, failed the community, and there should have been a lot more resources to help with that.
That's for sure. So you've been criticized for carrying a firearm into the scene, but it's obvious from the tape that a lot of people, you were not the only one with a firearm. There were rioters with firearms. Was that obvious to you?
Yes.
So, according to Kyle Rittenhouse, there were rioters out there with firearms. See, that's like I said, the narrative. They said that these people out here doing peaceful protesting. If you're doing peaceful protesting, why are you coming in with a gun? Or if you are coming with a gun, why you got your gun drawn? You said that people out here with firearms, you can have your gun concealed. You didn't have to have it out.
So you saw other people with guns?
I did. There was a lot of people there were rioters with firearms. I remember one very distinctly. Joshua Zeminski was walking around with a pistol in his hand all that night with Joseph Rosenbaum.
So the guy that, according to Kyle Rittenhouse, the guy that he shot the first one, Joseph Rosenbaum, somebody's walking around with him with a gun.
Where did you first see Rosenbaum?
The first time I saw Rosenbaum was the first time he threatened to kill me. It was at the corner of the car source lot that I was at primarily that night, and I was asking people if they needed medical, and he came up to me and Ryan Balch, and he said, "If I catch any of you MFers alone, I'm going to effing kill you."
Had you ever seen him before?
I have not.
So, at a peaceful protest, according to Kyle Rittenhouse, he's asking people, do they need help? And this guy's come to him and says, if I catch you alone, I'm going to effing kill you.
So you'd never seen this guy. He walks up and threatens to kill you out of nowhere.
Yes. It was quite shocking. I was like, why would somebody threaten to kill me? I'm just asking if people need help on both sides. I was there just to help anybody that needed, and shockingly, the only people I helped that night were rioters.
What kind of sense did you get from Rosenbaum? I mean, that sounds deranged.
When he threatened to kill me, I was like, what the heck just happened? Nobody's ever threatened to kill me up until that point. And I was like, that's not something you say to somebody.
How long after that was it that he tried to grab your rifle?
It was about an hour and a half later, and then there was actually a second time he said to the group, he said, this is the second time he threatened to kill everybody. He said, I'm gonna effing kill you. I'm gonna cut your hearts out, you effing N-words.
So, according to Kyle Rittenhouse, he says to the group of people, I'm gonna effing kill you, rip your hearts out, you effing N-bombs. This is who we're marching for. There's also video out there that I've seen with my own eyes of Joseph Rosenbaum saying, shoot me, N-bomb, shoot me. I don't care, shoot me, N-bomb. But this case to me really showed me a lot that there's so much control of what they want you to believe and how hard you will go for what they put out. So, according to Kyle Rittenhouse, he's helping quote unquote rioters with medical needs. This guy Joseph Rosenbaum gets upset that he's helping rioters and said, I'm gonna kill you. And not only he said, I'm gonna kill you, he said to the crowd, I'm gonna kill all of you, rip your hearts out, you effing N-words. I'm glad he did this interview because it gives great context of what really happened. You know what I'm saying? According to him, allegedly. But it does give great context, and it shows that we're now protesting, and some people are looting across this country because he got off. But if you understand the first person that attacked him was that first domino that went off. And this is the first person that attacked him was Joseph Rosenbaum. The first person that attacked him was the person that's saying that to the crowd of black people and people that's marching with BLM, I'm going to kill you, you effing N-words.
Cut your hearts out?
Yes.
Did any of the rioters try and calm him down or stop him?
What I noticed is the rioters were trying to, they were disassociating with him because he was spewing the N-word around, and they just didn't seem to want to have anything to deal with him, the rioters.
I can see that. I can see a crazy white dude saying the N-word, and he's supposed to be quote unquote an ally, and people are like, he's just crazy. Just leave him alone. Don't worry about him. I can see that.
So he comes, he tries to grab your rifle, he gets shot. You decide at that point, unless I'm misremembering, you want to go turn yourself into the police.
Yes. After I shoot Mr. Rosenbaum, he tried to grab my gun. I was running away. There was a gunshot behind me. After I shoot him, I run around the car because I was going to go render first aid to him. I wasn't able to because then there was a mob forming and calling for my execution to get him and kill him. And
I don't know if I believe that he wanted to give first aid to Joseph Rosenbaum. I'm not saying it's not true. I just say, me personally, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But I think in that hostile environment, if somebody tried to come after me and grab a gun, I'm getting out of there.
That's when I try to run to the police line and get to the police. And then I am attacked again.
By the guy who kicked you?
By Jump Kick Man, yes.
Whose identity we didn't know. It turns out the prosecution knew it and hid it.
So we found out.
Think about that. The first guy, after he shot Joseph Rosenbaum, the first guy who attacked him when he's on the ground is Jump Kick Man, right? The prosecution knew who this person was. We always talk about how prosecutions and how they always hide evidence for their case. They're hiding this guy. They know who this guy is. They hiding this guy. They hiding evidence. They hiding witnesses for their case.
November 7th, the prosecution, we went into the judge's chambers and the prosecution said, we identified Jump Kick Man, and the prosecution threw a fit a little bit. They didn't want us to interview him. They were like, well, he's a victim, and didn't want my investigators or my attorneys to interview him or ask him questions. They just wanted to do it private, non-recorded, and the judge said, no, it's going to be recorded. And then a couple hours later, they say, oh, he asked for immunity and we're not going to give it to him, so we're not going to be calling him as a witness.
Yeah, well, probably didn't want to talk about his criminal record.
Yeah.
So you're running, trying to get to the police lines. You see the mob coming after you. Let's execute him, they're saying. And then out of nowhere, you get dropped to the ground by the guy who kicks you in the head. Mm-hmm. Did you see him coming?
I did. To backtrack a little bit, actually, as I'm running, Gage Grosskreutz came up to me with his phone and put it in my face, and he said, what are you doing? Did you just shoot that man? And I told him, I'm going to the police. And he said, oh, okay, and ran off, and I kept running to get to the police. And that's when Anthony Huber.
So that's the third person he shot was Gage Grossman. So what was Gage Grossman coming back doing now? Like, according to Kyle Rittenhouse, he came with the phone and said, hey, where's my phone at? So I can do a real, say, hey, did you shoot this man? Did you shoot this man? Then he's like, oh. He walked away.
Strikes me with the skateboard as I'm running before I'm on the ground for the first time, and then I'm hit with a rock by somebody in a white tank top, and that's how I end up on the ground. And I have 4 people around me from what I remember, and I move my firearm in their direction and they back off with their hands up so I don't shoot them. And then Jump Kick Man keeps coming, and that's when I fire 2 shots at Jump Kick Man.
Wow. Oh, so Jump Kick Man was the first one to get shot at, but he missed Jump Kick Man. All right, that's interesting. Because Jump Kick Man is black, and imagine if he would have hit Jump Kick Man. We really been up in arms.
And you miss him, and he kicks you.
Yes.
And he's bugging. I am not trying to jump kick nobody. And plus, Jump Kick Man had his hands in his pocket, if I'm not mistaken, when he did it. I'm not jump kicking nobody while they got an AR in their hands. But let's continue.
And what happens?
After Jump Kick Man is running off, Anthony Huber comes up and he grabs the barrel of my gun, and then he hits me with his skateboard holding his trucks.
So he grabs the barrel of the gun and hit him with a skateboard. See, I'm not sure what happened around the scene, but I'm going to just assume this, right? If Gage Grossman, I know I'm probably butchering his name, but if he came to Kyle Rittenhouse with the microphone and the camera saying, "Hey, what did you do? I shot this guy. I'm about to leave and go to tell the police." If he did that, he should have been somebody there saying, "Hey, he's going to the cops. Let him go. Let him go to the cops." Instead of the mob trying to take justice in their own hands.
That's when I shoot him one time.
Where did he hit you with the skateboard?
He hit me in the back of the head, in the neck, the back of the head towards the neckline.
Did you think you were going to be killed at that point?
I did.
Then what happens?
And then after Mr. Huber attacks me, Mr. Grosskreutz puts his hands up, and then I have my rifle pointed in his direction for about a second, and then once I lower my rifle, I noticed that my ejection port is opened about an inch, and Mr. Grosskreutz said I pulled the charging handle, which never happened. I hit the forward assist to close the ejection port, and he sees me doing that or something, and this time he runs at me and he has his gun pointed directly at my head.
Did you see the gun?
I did.
What, do you think he was going to shoot you?
I did.
If you see a gun and you got your gun drawn and somebody comes at you with a gun drawn, of course, I would think they're going to shoot me too.
He had it pointed directly at my head, and that's when I shoot him one time, and he is no longer a threat to me at that point because he ran off after I fired that shot.
Did you realize you hit him?
I didn't know until later.
So then what happens?
There is a person directly in front of me, and I point my rifle in their direction, and he puts his hands up, and he's backing up, and I then turn around, start going to the police, and then I hear shots behind me, and I turn around and briefly raise my rifle to see if I'm being shot at, and then I realize I can't see who's shooting at me, so then I turn around and go back to the police car.
I'm not gonna lie. From what I've seen in the video and how he described it, it seems to be a match. It seemed like he was literally running and he got attacked. Like everything he broke down in this video, to me, it seemed to be true. What he said verbatim. I mean, video didn't lie. To me, the video didn't lie. A lot of people saying that, he might have antagonized people and stuff like that. It seemed like the real antagonizer was Joseph Rosenbaum. That seemed like to be the real antagonizer. Because he's the one that saying he's going to kill Kyle Rittenhouse. He's going to take out the hearts of all the N-words in the crowd. That's the real antagonizer. And it seems like, they using our trauma of things that we see on TV, such as Jacob Blake getting shot. They see that trauma and they come out to tear up cities and use our trauma and our name for that. Now we're attached to that. That's what it seems like to me.
Towards the police line.
It's just, hearing this, it's just hard to believe this is happening in an American city.
Yeah.
So then you finally get up, you hear shots, you turn to see who's shooting at you, and then you finally make it to the police line.
Yes.
And think about this. There's a police line that he could run to. And between the mob that's attacking him and him, between him, there's a mob on one side attacking him and the police on the other side. It's like he had to get up and run, like you playing tag. You got to run to safe. You got to run to, what is it called, base. You got to run to base, make sure nobody can tag you so you can be it. He had to run there to the police. The police didn't come to see what was going on with him. They just had a police line. Whew.
Once I make it to the police cruiser, the police officer says, "Get back, get back, get back." One of them has a gun out and the other has pepper spray pointed at me. And I say, "Hey, I just had to shoot somebody. I just had to shoot somebody." And then they say, "Go home." And I didn't know this until...
Go home?
Yeah.
I had to shoot somebody. They tell him to go home. What have you have done in that situation?
The officer said to go home. I don't think he knew what happened or heard me. There's a lot of chaos going on.
Yes.
But apparently he pepper sprayed me. You can see it in the video, but I don't remember being pepper sprayed by him.
So then what happened?
I say, okay, I go back to the car source lot number 2. We've been referring to them. Car source 1 is the one that got burnt down. Car source 2 is the one that I was at primarily the entire night, and car source 3 is the one where I was attacked by Mr. Rosenbaum. I go back to car source lot number 2, and I tell everybody there what happened. I said I had to do it. I was just attacked. I was dizzy. I was vomiting. I couldn't breathe, and I was like, I wanted to turn myself in Kenosha. I wanted to turn myself into the police in Kenosha, but I wasn't able to because they weren't accepting visitors, apparently.
He said, I want to turn myself into the police station in Kenosha, but I couldn't because they wasn't accepting people. Telling you, man, I don't know what's going on in this country, but they definitely using our trauma to push out an agenda and a message. And I feel like it's sad that a lot of us don't see that.
With the barricades and the fence up, so we ended up turning myself into the Antioch Police Department.
So he had to go back to Antioch in Illinois to get turned himself in because the police wasn't taking nobody in Wisconsin.
Drove back across state lines, as we're now calling it. So you couldn't even turn yourself in?
No, it was like I had to go to Antioch Police Department, which, to my understanding, is the closest police department to Kenosha.
Why do you think people were burning car source? What does that have to do with civil rights?
I don't.
That's a great question. Like, I think people, we are upset, right? I think, black people are very upset. And I think that the people who are doing the anarchy and the arson and burning up and the spray paint and the art, the defacing buildings and stuff like that and breaking windows, I think that they know our pain is there and they could do what they want to do for us. I mean, to us, well, by us, right? They could do it by us because they could just destroy property and they won't get blamed for it. And we're so upset. We see that's going on. Our emotions are high. We like, yo, let's really burn this stuff down. Let's burn it down. So that's what they did, And I think that's the reason why stuff like this was going on, in my opinion. I'm not saying that it's right. You know what I'm saying? For somebody who owned a business or who had a shop and everything like that, I'll be pissed that I'll come to my shop and everything I had was burnt down just because you're upset about something. I'll be pissed. But at the same time, this is probably why that they're doing it.
No, I think it was opportunists taking advantage of the BLM movement. I agree with.
See? He said he think it was opportunists taking advantage of the BLM movement. I agree with that. It's clear as day. That's what the issue is. That these people are using our trauma to have anarchy in middle America.
The BLM movement, I agree. Everybody has the right to protest and assemble, but I do not agree that people have the right to burn down. I don't appreciate that people are burning down American cities to try to spread their message. I think there's other ways to go around and do that.
Well, I agree with that completely. So you turn yourself into Antioch Police. What do you think is going to happen at that point to you?
I didn't know. I was in shock. My head was spinning from being hit in the head multiple times. I had some minor injuries. I just didn't know. I didn't know I was going to be arrested for defending myself because everything was on video. But part of the reason I think I was arrested is because of the mob mentality. And they were like, yeah, we're just going to arrest him, even though there was videos already out showing me being attacked and having to defend myself.
I agree with that too. We are now in that mob mentality mindset that we have to just go with that. Like whatever everybody's saying, we have to go with it. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken, man, let me see something real quick. In fact, I'll talk about that later. But yeah, that's where we have to go. If everybody's up in arms about one thing, we have to go with that mob mentality. And I want to give props, my opinion. I want to give props to the judge. You know what I'm saying? I want to give props to the judge for not going towards that mob mentality, not going towards what they want us to believe. And I will also give props to the jury because the jury was being intimidated. They said they had pictures of the jury out and they were saying that we know who you are. You better make the right decision as we see fit. And they didn't. They made a decision as they see fit. And, props to them because, a lot of times you see stuff like this and people feel like, oh, they're going to do this to me. They're going to do that to me. Let me just do what they say so I could go on my life. And they did what they felt was right, in my opinion. They did what they felt was right. But what y'all think about this, man? If y'all made it this far, put Kyle in the comments because this was a long-ass video. I'll bet I wasn't meant to go this long. But, yeah, man, I'll put in the link description. I'll put the link to the video in the description for the full interview so you can check it out yourself. But I just want to play that one part, man. It's other things about the interview, too, that was kind of alarming. But I just wanted to play that one part about that, man. But, yeah, man, shout out to Tucker Carlson for having Kyle Rittenhouse on and him to say what he wanted to say. I don't think no other news outlet that's big as Tucker Carlson is like, I don't see Kyle Rittenhouse going on CNN to speak to like Don Lemon, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't think that this is their agenda. You know what I'm saying? This is not the agenda for their message. I think, to me, Fox News is more of a conservative channel, and they put out things that people in middle America could relate to more. You know what I'm saying? People in middle America relate to more. And I would have never known that if I never been to middle America and meet people from middle America. Once I start meeting more people and having conversations, I start understanding things differently. But yeah, man, that's my thoughts on it, man. I appreciate your time. If you made it this far, I really do appreciate it. All right, man, till next time. Peace.